Hello, everybody. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about deep breathing and breath work, and specifically how you can kind of return to deep breathing and breath work to clear your mind of any concern or when maybe stressful situations appear and you're finding that you're having a hard time calming down a bit. When it comes to breathing, it's one of those things that just occurs naturally for us, without any thought or effort on our part. Seems breathing is just so natural. And it changes throughout the day based off of what we're doing. If we're calm and relaxed, our breathing is follows suit. It's kind of steady and even and without any effort. If we're on a run or working out, maybe our breathing is kind of harder and more labored as we're sort of working out. Um, when we're sleeping, our breathing is deeper and slower. And actually, if you notice, if you're ever in a moment where you might feel some stress or concern in your mind, your breathing begins to get a little bit more shallow. And that's how we can work with breath work to kind of clear the mind of that. Because breathing happens so naturally, we don't even really think about it. It just happens. But if we turn our minds towards focusing on the breathing, we can start to calm ourselves down. And then, in so doing, realize that, you know, these are just sort of maybe even the body's physical reactions in tandem with the mind's sort of thoughts that are creating this sense of stress or sense of concern that you're experiencing. And once you get to work with breath work and breathing, you'll be able to maybe dispel some of that or get over some of your concern a little bit quicker. That's the hope, anyway. um, I thought maybe today we can go through some practicalities of doing this deep breath work. And for me, I think what always helps was like if you're in a comfortable seat wherever you are, sitting up straight is always helpful. And a lot of us have a tendency, I do, to slouch over. We're working at desk jobs or we're just sort of used to a bad posture. So if you just raise your arms up and kind of reach for the sky, and in doing so, you can inhale deeply when you're doing this. And then when you exhale, keep that space that you've just introduced into your sort of ribs and lungs. Keep that space and gently lower your arms and your shoulders. And exhale. Trying to keep this open posture. When we are in a worried state of mind, it often happens that our breathing begins to get a little bit more shallow. So, to start elongating our breath and taking deeper breaths, what we can do to start with is to start exhaling some of that air and some of that feeling. And when we're exhaling, start to also think about, not our regular limits of exhaling, but once you sort of feel like you've exhaled as much as you could, push yourself a little bit further to exhale just a little bit more and see if you can do that. So, exhaling just a little bit more and hold empty for a bit. And exhaling in a way, for me, when you can sort of hear how we're exhaling, you just hear the breath out, it really helps deepen the exhale. So, just to give you guys another sense of that, exhaling and then pushing out more air. And then you sit empty of this air for a second or so, maybe. And you realize you feel a little bit lighter already with all that emptied out air, all that wind that has just left your body. Um, and, in some practices, you can kind of feel like, your chest is the first to exhale, and then your stomach is the last part to sort of where you're squeezing out that extra air. And then when it comes to breathing in deep, you'll sort of take a similar approach. When we're exhaling out all that air, we're sort of pushing ourselves to do a little extra. And then when we're inhaling, we're going to push ourselves to do a little bit of extra inhale too, and really expand our lungs. And when we're doing so, we don't have to focus on anything else besides inhaling. No thoughts about anything, about our concerns, or about breathing even. Really just think about, just feel the emotions of inhaling. So inhaling, and do a little extra if you can. Holding it, and exhale. If we follow this kind of pattern, we might be able to deepen our breath a little bit. And if we repeat it kind of a few rounds of this type of deep breathing, we'll notice that like our body's sensations begin to relax a bit. You know, deep breathing is what we're doing in really relaxed states. For example, when we're sleeping, we're usually breathing pretty deep. And so when we introduce deep breathing to a moment where we're feeling a bit of concern or anxiety or just not relaxed, we're feeling anxious, it's a bit of a reminder for us that we don't have to be kind of antsy or agitated in this moment. Actually, if we can work with our breath, we can calm ourselves down. Um, and through calming ourselves down, we realize that like there's a bit more mental clarity. We can kind of see like the anxiety for what it is. Why are we feeling anxious? Why are we feeling overwhelmed when all we need to do is breathe? We're just focusing on the breathing, which naturally comes to us effortlessly, and we don't usually think about it. But when we're in those stressed moments, we're also not thinking about it. And so the breathing becomes more labored and shorter, just like with us without us even realizing it. So to calm ourselves down, I think deep breathing and this type of breath work can be quite amazing. Some other teachers have taught about, counting our breaths. So there's a couple ways to count, and there's for the duration, like, when you're first starting out, I would say 3 to 4 seconds is pretty good for an inhale and an exhale. I think the important thing to sort of try to keep with your breathwork practice is maybe a pause after each inhale and exhale. Staying empty or staying full for just a split second or as long as you can stand, really, and just being in that present moment, being with that breath that has filled your lungs, or being with that sort of empty feeling where the breath has just left your body. I think that might be helpful. So we can try that again with some counting. So I'm going to inhale and count to 4 in my mind, hold for a second, and then exhale and count to 4, and then hold. So maybe we'll do 3 rounds of this breathing all together. And again, while we're doing this deep breathing, don't try to force yourself to think of anything. If you find your mind sort of wandering, you could come back to the counting. The counting is quite helpful. There's also other ways of counting that I've learned from really great teachers, including, if you're touching certain patterns of your body. So, for example, if I'm touching like shoulder to shoulder, it's like 1, 2, and then heart 3, and then outside is 4, like a snap kind of thing. That might be helpful for you too, but for this purpose, I'm just going to count in my head. So we'll do a couple rounds of these deep breathings, and hopefully you'll sort of start to feel the sensation of really opening your chest up and really feeling your body empty when you're breathing out. So inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. and exhale. And then kind of come back to a regular breath that feels more natural without any counting or forced breathing. What we're doing by sort of inhaling and kind of taking in extra air or exhaling and kind of pushing out extra air is inviting more space to our bodies, and space that is actually already there, but we might not recognize it being there because our breathing, again, is so second nature to us. We're not even trying to, and it just happens. But when we're inviting more space or becoming aware of more space, we just realize, like, we start to realize that, like, you know, this breathing happens so naturally. This momentary thoughts or concerns that are I'm feeling a bit caught up in, this anxiety that is feeling like it's just kind of all consuming, it actually didn't exist in that extra little space that I've just found through my breath work, kind of thing. And when you do a practice of breath work or deep breathing for a while, you can also find that, it's useful for moments not even or not just when you're feeling stressed or concerned. This deep breathing, this relaxed breath work, it's helpful for also when you're feeling calm and at peace. You could bring your mindfulness back onto your breath. And from there, you can even start to sort of visualize that, like, with every exhale, that calm and peace that you're feeling inside your heart, you're sending it out to everybody, just the world in general. It's what we all need a little bit during these times. Just calm and peace that we're sharing for everyone. In so doing, we can also imagine that with our inhales, we're taking away everyone's sort of maybe forgetfulness when they think that, this anxiety, this concern, this agitation is all that there is. We can take away their type of, suffering with our inhale. So imagine us breathing that in, and it hits our deep heart. And our deep heart, of course, converts that to remind them that there is no reason for us to be so caught up in such feelings, and it's okay to actually feel the calm again. We exhale out that love and peaceful energy. I hope that this practice of breath work invites more peace and calm into your lives, and so that it becomes a second nature for you. When it becomes that you're mindful that your breathing is actually sending out love just by the process of you breathing. There's no need to think any further than that. It's just you're being alive, your breathing is sending out the love. And it's very much true. If we invite some mindfulness and practice a little bit of breath work, we can kind of reach that understanding and awareness. I hope this practice is really beneficial for you to feel that calm and peace. Thank you so much.